This meeting to order. Ready?
Set.
Okay, one change, I am moving item B under new business up, after approval of minutes. We'll get going. So, first order of business, approve minutes from July 19th, 24th, and 26th.
So moved.
Second. Further discussion? All in favor?
Hi.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. Okay. I moved B up, which was to, they discuss and take action on hiring a village electrician. We interviewed, when did we interview? What day did we interview? It doesn't
It
matter.
was last week.
Last week.
That's as good as I got, sorry.
Barb, myself, Tim, and Dave Reagan interviewed. And we selected Scott Dean. And who interviewed well. I think he has what we need here to replace David. And so we asked Scott to come today, so we could introduce him to the board. When he starts, he'll have to be introduced around to a lot of other people.
Everybody will know your name.
Could say, we're not, yeah.
There are some serious shoes to fill. But I think we have the right person to do that. I think Tim is very pleased. And we're moving in this direction. Barb,
Yeah,
anything?
no, straight, lot of experience, appreciate it. All your good job.
Tim, anything?
No, I'm just looking forward to having him on board and work with Dave for a few weeks before Dave's retirement.
Download Dave, right?
Download Dave, that's gonna be,
Download Dave.
it's gonna be key.
We're not sure how that's gonna work, but we're, with that being said, has there been a start date established?
We were just discussing it.
My last day in the hospital is the 25th.
Okay,
Whenever there's
I'd have him on the 28th again.
it's fine with me.
I
Sally,
asked him if you wanted any time in between, he said.
I don't think Scott likes to sit around doing
Right.
nothing. With that being said, need a motion,
So moved.
need a second,
Second.
to start on the 28th. All in favor?
Hi.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Welcome aboard.
Welcome.
And,
It's a good team.
you'll see him around quite a bit. Thank you.
Dave does 7, but
You worked that out.
yeah,
I just knew that. We never did talk.
yeah, we're kind of flexible there. So,
Okay,
You guys.
thank you.
well, thank you. Thanks for coming in.
Everyone's names.
You'll figure it out.
The people you're gonna be working with are way more important.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Thanks, Scott.
Thanks, Scott.
Good to see you.
Okay, we'll move on to department head reports. Let's see. Is Tim here? Tim, no.
Thanks.
He's right there. That's fine.
No. I'm looking for the other Tim.
Who's off?
Okay. And golf is not here. You were working with them,
We
Yeah.
talked about.
Okay. and that can come under reports too.
Yep.
Let's see here, recreation, she is not here, she has a medical problem with an animal. So, talk to her. Anything else from the recreation side?
Things are moving right along with ending this Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah, I think these are fine. They're great.
Okay.
We meet on Monday.
Moving right along here, the historian is not here today.
She's preparing for the tomorrow.
For tomorrow? Okay. Oh, that's right.
Mhm.
Is that a surprise for Bill?
I do not.
I don't know how it's
think
gonna be.
I did not be surprised.
It is now.
Okay, Cindy. Assessors report.
First off, the stock credit checks will be going out this month, so I was wondering if anybody had received anything. No, okay, the state had promised that they were gonna send them out in August before the school tax bill, so.
Still have 2 weeks, right?
Let's see, we're just still waiting on. Eric getting in touch with, the appraiser for the Holiday Inn. For that, and I talked to the appraiser the other night, and he. Is going out of town till after Labor Day, and, we got served, the hearing date as September 15th. And he's not promising that he's gonna have that appraisal done by then, so we're probably gonna have to either postpone it or go forward with the hearing and let them know that they're doing an appraisal, so. I can't give you an answer right now, so I don't know. Also. There's been these reports coming down that I listed on here from the state, and. They go over, all the stock credit reports with a fine tooth comb, and, they make sure everybody who's living in the property, is receiving the stock credit exemption or stock credit check. Again, the, enhanced star exemption is going up to 70,000 this year. And the basic star exemption is going up, it went down to 25,600. The auction is gonna be the foreclosure auction that's coming up, and that's gonna be starting on Saturday, September 9th, and that will be online. There wasn't many properties in Canton that were listed on the foreclosure list.
Is there anything in the village or?
Offhand, I can't remember,
Okay.
but, there might have been,
I haven't looked.
yeah, I have to look at it. Like I said, it was like a handful, it was not, I know it was like under 10, if that, so. Does anybody have any questions on my report?
Okay, thank you, Cindy. Village clerk.
Yeah, my written report, I did want to add, update on tax collection. We only have 120,000 left to collect.
Ooh, that's good.
So collection is doing really well this year. October 2nd is the last day to collect. Moving right along. We will, there's also an item on the agenda. To set the second notice fee, which anybody that hasn't paid your taxes, we send notices out saying. Haven't paid your taxes. This is the deadline. We can charge up to $2 to send those out. Usually, white, Catholic is set. $2, it's easier just to say, pay the bill.
Well, that'll be coming up.
Yes.
Questions? Okay. Tim Bacon, superintendent's report.
We'll be talking about composting in committee, probably really the only thing I would just add in is that we've had, probably you guys have taken complaints too about State Street. Kind of everybody has.
Yep.
Just Indian residents that I've just talked to, said be patient. It's a process to move manholes and storm grades down first, then we had a grant. Took a little scheduling time to bring in Sheehan's to do that. And now we're ready, now we're waiting on the county. And that might possibly be put off even till beginning of September possibly this week. Because it's so,
We have a problem that has cropped up. So we were informed that there's some 90-ton beams coming in.
Oh.
And the approved route brings them up State Street.
Oh.
So Tim and I are having some conversations about that with the school.
yeah, be during, basically right when we have paving scheduled. And we do not, we don't want that running on asphalt that's a week or two old.
No, it needs to sit, right?
So, yeah, longer than that.
Yeah, so. What company is,
The DOT approved the transportation group, so,
okay, and under normal circumstances, that might make sense.
yeah, they generally would discuss it with either Mike or myself. That didn't happen, so,
The state DOT?
yes.
The state DOT has to approve the route. It's an escorted
Well, if it's that
thing.
big,
And, we wondered why that didn't come in off of 310 and up that way. To avoid, what we're doing.
Yeah. good
So
point.
what is-
I've been in touch with Scott Sanderson. I've been in touch with Sue Todd.
Mhm.
And they're supposed to provide me with information on the transport company. And then, I'm moving from there.
so it's materials that need to go for their construction project.
Yeah.
Got it.
There's 7 of them.
So
But the problem is, if depending on their timing, and they've already given us some dates. We're at the whim of the county for paving. We may end up having to go State Street after school starts. So. Oh, well,
They
trying to
can't,
do it before.
they can't just go up to 310 and go in.
they can.
Well,
They
that's what
can,
we're-
but that's the problem.
Is
can, but it
getting
needs to
them
be
to do that is
approved
the
by-
problem.
Right, because they already approved a different route.
Different, yeah.
So we're working on that.
Should be, I would think that would be fine.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
you would think,
You
but
would think.
you should know that the state works in mysterious ways at times. You're familiar with that.
I am very familiar with that.
So we're working on that, and I think that that's a problem we have, because we've already raised structures in the road. They get run over, they'll be crushed. There's just a lot of issues.
Well, there won't be any resistance.
Oh, it's not the school, but it's
The
getting,
DOT.
getting the DOT.
Yeah.
things.
Okay,
So we'll just let.
You might be
people know
surprised
to Be
what we're gonna
patient, we are.
Yeah, it's trying.
set your thoughts.
Anything else for Tim?
They got the line strip done too. Some people noticed, Sullivan Drive didn't get done, but I think we're picking up yet.
Yep, good job on that.
Yeah,
Get
glad
that
it's
done.
done now.
Good to get that done. Yeah.
Trying to squeeze it in.
Let's see, Lee,
I can do a couple things in evidence for this moment.
I know you've been very busy with some things.
Yes, Jenny's been out with other issues too, so that's kind of thrown a wrench into things, but, so next week, you might recall that we are having CGI Global. I'm going to do some promotional videos, and they are scheduled to appear next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So I believe we are going to be doing some press release to let you know, or something to let people know that there's gonna be some videoing and filming around town, just to make people aware of it.
Please don't be alarmed.
Right, Mark's gonna be working with the videographer, initially and sort of providing a nice way around town, so that's happening next week. The downtown revitalization initiative was announced at the end of July. It's due September 29th. The Friday, that Friday is the 29th by 4 o'clock. We had our initial meeting today, to sort of discuss how we may or may not move forward. We did set a date for a public meeting to sort of gauge the community, what might be out there for projects, what interest level is. I realized that I had something that was not on my personal calendar, maybe I need to change that. It's tentatively set right now for Thursday the 24th at 5:30 to 7, and we're hoping to hold it about 20, but again, that may need to change. but it will be happening soon, and then we'll determine from there what our path forward is. So we did submit a letter of intent, or we will be submitting a letter of intent. To apply, that will open us up to some technical assistance in application preparation. If we are interested in receiving it, which we've done it before. So that's moving on. We worked on 3 grant applications this season, if you will. Through the, 2 were through the CFA, we submitted LWRP application. We submitted an application to the DEC for the shoreline stabilization work on Long Island. And today we finalized, an application to the DEC for some tree maintenance. Primarily removals of, high risk, critical and high risk trees. That are identified in the Armed Force Management Plan. And hopefully we can do some replacement plantings as well as part of that, as well as some training for DPW staff, which is also a recommendation. So we can have certified progress from staff. So I was also today, which I put a lot of work into it as well as Rick, to try to prepare for getting everything we needed. So we made that happen. The chamber. Canton Chamber did vote to do the merger with the county. The county's vote, I believe, is only 24. So we're anticipating that will move forward. If the county votes to do so, and I think it's a September 1 date for that merger. They do have job listings posted. One for Messina and one for Canton. It'll be a half-time person, full-time person, half-time dedicated to Canton. The other half with other specialties to the county. We do have meetings set to also look at what we may want to contract with them for services for Canton or events and things like that. So they're working on it. Willow Island, that project is continuing to advance. The construction drawings for phase 1 are almost at 100% at this point. Once those are finalized, they'll go to the state for review. We have Scott will the attorney review them as well before they go out to bid. At this point in the calendar, we probably are looking at a spring project rather than fall. Just because of the time.
Okay.
The small business program, the grant program, that's ongoing at this point. We're gonna do a little more publicity around it, to get those monies spent. I have had at least 10 inquiries about it. I don't have any applications yet, so we need to push that to get that program, get those funds out. The United Helpers piece of that, the mental health is going very well. They've taken on, I don't remember, but over 300 new clients.
Really?
Since March, and continue to do that.
Desperately
So,
needed.
Yes, and that has been successful, so. That's a real.
Go ahead. Any questions for Lee? Thanks, Lee. Chief, last but not least.
No questions about my report. I have 2 things to add. One is our newest officer just started the police academy last Thursday. We'll 5 today. They just started 5. Everything's going well so far. The main thing I wanted to bring up was around the July 31st, I heard from the high school principal that Canton School was considering, because of a large construction project, shutting down parking on campus for anyone who's not an employee. So that means no students allowed to park on campus. When this happened, I don't know the exact year. I was an officer at the time. I remember Farmer Street was crazy. Because you have people parking on both sides. People that live through there were complaining. Trying to have a DPW truck or a fire truck or a school bus down through there was pretty challenging, and especially with kids trying to cross the street in the cars. So I just wanted to bring it up to let you all know. I haven't had it confirmed yet in the school what they're gonna do. But we may want to discuss at some point,
Perhaps it's safe. It's to me.
parking on Farmer Street, at least Upper Farmer, I would think.
Well, yeah, I think we need to meet. Chief told me about it. But, we haven't been able to confirm that that's gonna happen yet. But I think that, what they're gonna do is try to push them down to the ball field.
That's what was initially
But-
said, but
I asked today when I talked to them and they hadn't been able to confirm anything yet. So I think we need to plan a public hearing to adjust parking, no parking on wherever we think we're gonna be impacted. Farmers, one of them.
Does the school have a number on how many students?
They haven't given us anything yet. Yeah, we will ask for that. We will ask for that.
I guess my question is, they just.
Yeah, but that's their loading,
But it's
that's their contractors, space, oh yeah,
And
Yeah.
how long? Do we know how?
could be the whole, could be the whole winter. So,
Snowbanks and cars, won't that?
well,
Everybody's gonna be happy.
Jim and I talked a little bit and, you know, we have to sit down and come up with a plan. But in the meantime, we need to consider parking only on one side of Farming. At the very least, there may be more that we need to do. We're gonna have to depend on some of the recommendations from Jim. But, yeah, let's get together
Yes,
and
let's do that.
meet and, I would like to plan a public hearing for our next meeting. So that we can take action on parking restrictions. We'd have to have a public hearing
Sure.
and then establish the no parking on where you wanted to do it, so. So for our next meeting, I would like to schedule a public hearing for that.
Yeah, and I would love to have community.
That was the plan. That's the plan, so I wanted Jim to bring it out here tonight. Any other questions for Jim? Anything else, Jim? Okay. I need a motion to accept department head requests.
Second,
All in favor?
I,
Aye. Any opposed? Committee reports. Sure, we've got a few things, there are some things on the agenda that will come under minutes. Committee reports.
well, I'll talk about golf. We met, a couple of times recently, to see how things are going there. The weather is a little rainy, but they're optimistic. I feel like the golf course is in great shape. Gotten so much rain, it's kind of a, you know, you win. Yeah. So, but we're working on these along with getting that underway.
Okay. I've heard a lot of great things, so condition of things down there, so.
Yeah. Not, it's rained so much, but.
Well, yeah, but still.
But still.
Yeah, so months have been really sunny and great, and then August has just been a little rainy, but tournaments have been good. Concessions has worked well.
Okay. Next,
I would just say communications and technology continues to work on the website. We in fact met today to approve some revisions in color, font, etc. So it's, and then we will be meeting again next week, 2 weeks, whatever. To actually begin work with the vendor on the site map, which is basically gonna determine where everything goes and what will be migrated from the old to the new. So we are moving along, I think pretty much more or less on timeline.
We also continue to wait for quotes on the from the audio visual consultant. So hopefully we will be getting those soon, and the Communications and Technology Committee will at very least have something of, I don't know, a recommendation or whatnot for improving our particularly audio, but we'll upgrade the video as well. Infrastructure meets next week, more of the same, and then I think we covered, yeah, the both the CGI, right, the folks, you know, do not be alarmed, and there are people, you know, videographers,
Please.
that they are in fact, with the village, they're not scamming you. Then also just in terms of this DRI brainstorm, I mean, we'll get the information out to the press as soon as possible, because we really do want to hear from the community, from folks who have ideas, who have projects. You know, at this point, I think the DRI, I don't know, subcommittee that we've become about this time of year is, you know, looking to the community to see what's out there. And whether, you know, in the ratio of our capacity to do this, you know, an application versus the return on that application, you know, where we're at with that. So really hope that folks will come out and, or connect with Lee's office if they have projects and would be interested in exploring the DRI and the New York forward with the municipality. Yeah, I think that's all for me.
We're ready to move ahead with our fast charger for Hodgkin Street. We're just waiting for the DEC to send some guidance on how to proceed. There's some things we gotta cover with the DEC. We were hoping to put a level 2 charger in by this building, and it got real complicated. We have a 60-year-old electrical entrance in this building. And so we would have to put in a whole new 200 amp entrance which would be costly and which would put us over the grant amount. And so we're gonna hold off for the moment on the charger for here until whatever we do to this building as far as upgrading in the future or possibly we would then install a charger at that point. So right now, we're just gonna go ahead with the fast charger for Hodgkin Street. And that's all set to go.
And does our grant money sit there?
Yeah,
Well, they're not gonna take it back, they're gonna,
we're gonna not use every penny of it because the fast charger is not quite the full
Okay, so no.
amount. So, but I don't see any other option right
Yeah.
now. We can't put an additional charger in Hodgkin because we're at our limit for the power capability there. So all we can do is fast charger and then in the future, add one here as possible.
Okay. Any other committee?
Just, I attended really there on the tree committee, we, talked a lot about.
Okay. Anything else? Good, we'll move on. I have nothing under communications and information. So we'll move to old business. 64 Main Street update, seems like a permanent fixture on my agendas. Has been reported, I think at the town meeting, we did go to bid for the demolition. There was a couple of questions about, you know, possible reuse of that structure. And the building committee met and discussed some of those concerns the other day. And we've decided that after one of the members of that committee was comfortable, we're gonna schedule a joint meeting to take care of that piece of the business. So that's right now what is later on the agenda, is to schedule a joint meeting with the town. And we'll talk about that when we get down there under new business. But don't expect that meeting will be very long. However, that's what I have on that space. 19 minor, that'll be on here for a while. I don't have anything to add to that. Scott and I have talked a little bit and, I've not had a chance to do what I wanted to do this week. I've been tied up with a bunch of other things, so I will get to that.
Has Vern finished?
So that's what I was talking to Scott about. I think Vern is close, but I gotta get over there and talk to
It's
Vern.
not quite over the hump.
So, and that's part of what Scott and I have been.
I was gonna say, it's like cleaning out the basement. easy to miss.
The other thing that remains here quite a bit is community choice, aggregation.
They're hoping to have a good price in the fall.
Okay,
And so they're required to have another public information session. And we're hoping to tie that together with our rescheduled September meeting. If at all possible, I'd like to say schedule it for 6 o'clock before our 6:30 meeting. But later on, we'll be working on that. I guess it's on the agenda to pick a date for our rescheduled meeting. So we can do that then. That's a requirement for them. For us to go ahead with a power purchase, they have to have one public information session because it's too much time has lapsed since our previous sessions. So they just have to do one more, so. That's it.
okay. Thank you. Community-based project was the next item on the agenda. That was on the agenda last month, it sat, for comment by the board. Anna and I met today for a little bit, and there were a couple little tweaks that we made in the policy, and I resent that out to you. They're not, major changes to the policy, the intent is still the same. I don't know if you have any further questions about that or not. I labeled that as a second draft. Along with that is the form that we will ask people to fill out. Any questions on that? Good. What would you like to do with it?
I'll move it to be approved. What is it, James?
Second.
With the changes that have been made? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Very good. Okay, the next item was the CDP funding request. I did send some information out to all of you. There were some few comments I received with questions. I think we still have some questions. But at the same time, we haven't budgeted for this, so I think if nothing else, we leave it there until we go back into budget discussions. Is that okay with the board?
Yeah, I agree. The only thing I would add is maybe it would be useful to communicate to CDP that, you know, when, like, for example, CDBG monies get released, when there are monies that seem like they would be appropriate for that, you know, for the services that they provide, that, you know, we'd be always happy to take a look at, you know, what, you know, opportunities there might be that the municipality could help with, right, in terms of fiscal sponsorship and that sort of thing, so.
And
It
I
may
will,
be that they don't know that, you know, those things come up, that could be a resource to them outside of our.
I will do that. I'll be getting back in touch. I did ask questions that you presented to me.
Right,
So, that just remained there, so I wanted to make sure we covered it.
Yeah.
Okay. Next item is composting discussion.
Okay. You all have a proposal and then also cost breakdown that you have in your emails. We have Greg Todd is here today with us to answer questions and further the discussion. Did anybody have any particular questions about either the proposal or the cost part of it, or our thoughts?
The proposal is once a week.
And we're encouraging keeping Bend in the River site open. If you're willing to try that. North Country Compost is willing to pick that up right along with the farmer market compost. And that's something the board can think about and consider. You know, there of course have been issues in the past, but by picking it up every week and keeping a closer eye on it, I think we can minimize some of the problems we've had. And we can try it and see how it goes. If it turns real bad again, we can close it at any point, but I would encourage the board to consider keeping it open for now with weekly pickup and see how that goes. Just give that a try and see if it stays. And we would switch to plastic totes, the Casella size 60-gallon totes, which enable pickup without heavy equipment. It enables a person to drag those up on a lowboy trailer and make, not require, hydraulic equipment to pick up a heavy dumpster.
So what's there now would,
What's there now would need to be moved and replaced with totes. Casella has already donated 6 of those large totes. We have totes in hand. And they'll donate more if we need more, but we have 6 already to start with, which is sufficient to get started for the time being. And so that's our recommendation.
So my question just is, if you're gonna keep the original site open, what motivation is there for a person to take it in the park?
We're hoping to get many more people to compost. We're hoping to get, by having it at the market, there's, of course, it's a busy Friday morning. Many of the people that come to the market are people that might already be thinking about it or considering, composting. And so by making that available at that busy location, we're hoping to get, much more participation.
so this is intended to be on Fridays?
It'd be Friday morning, roughly market hours, say 9 to noon or 10 to 1, or, at the busy time of the market. And it would be picked up at the end of those hours, so nothing would be left on site. There would be nothing that would be a problem or, odor or visual or anything. Everything would be removed. And then the Bend in River site could be picked up immediately after if we decide to keep that going. And otherwise, it would just get taken to Corey Vineyard's farm. He's gonna collect it all there. And he'll take what we have stored right now at our solar array site. He'll be happy to take that. Tim will get you, in touch with Corey, and he'll be glad to take what's there to get that off our plate, so to speak. And so that's the proposal.
So in terms of the market, where's the placement going to be?
Oh, it'll be
Where's it-
a picture directly across from the UU Church, and then a little bit east of there, like a little bit towards the railroad tracks from across from UU Church. So sort of the furthest point from
Right.
most of the vendors.
Right.
Downwind and the furthest point from the vendors.
Where I was
And
going.
I think it would very minimally interfere with the market. It's the furthest spot. It's the most likely spot to have parking available, because the whole rest of the block is, of course, always busy.
Sure.
Mike and the chief have discussed it, and we can, if need be, reserve 3 spots. The last 3 spots on Main Street, just before Park Place, before that intersection. We'll reserve those 3 spots for people to pull in and drop off their compostable stuff. And that's the plan to, and the farmers market people are eager to help, you know, they'll help us recruit volunteers, and they were very, Erica's very enthusiastic about it.
So they're gonna monitor what goes in.
Yeah, we'll have somebody there at all times. Somebody will be there staffing it to make sure it's,
Right, so that's.
and to help
intended, and the other
people
one is
and
not.
and to, you know, give people information and,
Sure,
you know, the whole deal. But yeah, somebody will be there the whole time, if there's anything dropped off.
so that's guaranteed to be clean compost.
Yep.
The other site, not so much.
The other site, we'll see how it goes. I mean, if we're hoping to get people to cooperate better and to not throw a lot of plastic in there. And we'll make a major effort, like a public education effort to get people to handle that better. And we'll just see how it goes, you know, if it doesn't work and it stays terrible, we could close that if need be, but I'm hoping we can keep both sites going and maximize the participation. That's our hope.
So is this just during farmer's market time?
I'm thinking we could go beyond farmer's market time. I would say weather permitting, it could keep going until the snow is so deep that it's problematic to get in there. And at that point, I'd recommend keeping Bend in the River open still, so people still have a place to dump. But that's up to the board, you know, that's up to us, but I'm thinking we could go well into, say, even December. And see how it goes with the weather. If need be, you know, in deep snow, probably it's not feasible to keep it going in deep snow, but all but that condition, I think it could continue.
Right now, the proposal's for 3 months.
Yeah, for 3 months, September, October, November. It's the proposal is till the end of November. And then at that point, we can assess the situation, see if we want to keep going, if we want to keep them both sites going, we can, it's totally up to us, how we want to proceed.
Not real, I don't have real warm fuzzies about the original site, just because of the problems we've had.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, I feel
For
a lot
sure.
better about trying, you know, the farmer's market in that piece of time.
Mhm.
And I also feel more comfortable saying that we need to try it for a few months to see how it's gonna go.
Sure.
The other piece is the funding. That, you know, concerns me, because we didn't budget for this kind of thing, so we gotta find money somewhere to do this. Like I said, my concern, you know, I appreciate the effort that you and the sustainability committee has made. I don't have a lot of warm fuzzies about
About the Bend in the
the
River
Bend in the
site.
Riverside.
Well, I guess.
But if we give it 3 months, we're gonna have to make a hard decision.
Mhm.
But I just don't see that that's gonna be real successful based on past history. That's my
Okay.
feeling.
Sure, I mean, if we decide to close that, we'll just go with farmer's market, that's fine too. We were hoping that we could try it for, you know, a couple months and see if we can clean it up, if we can influence the behavior there a little bit and keep it usable. If it's not, it's not, you know, the worst that can happen is 2 months in, we go, wait, this is terrible, we have to close it and stick with the farmer's market. I'm just hoping that people will learn and cooperate, but.
So. I also appreciate the effort and the creativity and figuring this out. To, you know, provide an alternative, which is what we asked for. I will say that achievement of the goal to me. Would seem like it would make more sense to have the volunteers. Spending whatever time they're gonna be staffing in the space that we have. If ultimately what it seems like the goal is, because it seems to me that the goal of the farmer's market is about public education, public awareness, and getting people to compost.
Mhm.
The problem that we're trying to solve, that's it. The problem we're trying to solve is the compost issue in the place that it is already exists and the people who already use it.
Mhm.
And so it seems to me that there's a bit of a mismatch there, you know. Did the committee consider a location, you know, having somebody at the place at Bend in the River for some time and staffing it in that way rather than also, and also I'm just gonna say, because it seems to me that our funding is not really going towards compost, but really towards a public education campaign about compost. And I don't know, like that isn't necessarily something that we had put on our plate as a priority.
Mhm.
Solving this problem so that we can provide this service and keep food waste out of the waste stream and all of that, that's the problem. So. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I just wonder, like,
Well,
why not have the place where it's an issue because people don't know how to do it right or aren't following the rules, why not?
yeah.
Use the volunteers there.
Yeah, well, if it were feasible to staff Bend in the River for a short doable amount of time, we'd be happy to do that. Problem is, Bend in the River has been open around the clock, and there's no way to staff it around the clock.
Sure.
There's too many hours in the week to do that. I mean, we could pick a time or 2 times or something. I mean, one thought was to have Bend in the River just open Friday mornings at the same time as farmer's market is open. And have it monitored during that time if we can find enough volunteers to do that. That's one option too, is not keep Bend in the River open all week, just have it open Friday morning from 9 to noon. That's,
But why would I go to Bend in the River at the same time that?
well, just to keep Bend in the River open. In other words, there's
But why would you do
a
it?
certain bunch of people that are used to using Bend in the River. We
Right.
don't want to lose them.
Right,
I mean, what we were hoping to be able to keep it open all week and keep all of them. But if that's not a feasible option, we could keep it open a limited time that could be monitored. In other
Sure.
words, if
and
we,
what I am suggesting is that don't have volunteers at the same time in 2 different places, have them at 2 different
Mhm.
times.
Okay,
One
Yeah.
in the park and one,
one at
There.
a different time in Bend in the River.
and I would dare say that it probably would be easier to get people to volunteer at the park because there might be people who are already there.
That's
it's a fun
originally why
place
we
to
picked the
be.
park,
Of course.
is it's much more likely to get volunteers to do it in the
Right,
park
and doing it over
than
there
to
is
go out
gonna be way harder.
in Bend in the River.
Right.
Greg, what do you think about the possibility of one day out at Bend in the, say Saturday, just to pick a day? Do Friday in the park and a Saturday in Bend in the River. Is that something worth trying?
Well, I happen to live at Stevens in Lincoln.
Mhm.
You've been there, and I've been there 2 months and I go over. My personal opinion is something that accomplished for in Portland or Canton. You don't have any information. Not picked up for 2 months.
Mhm.
It's gonna have incidents on it. Us and things to see it. So you that just, and that's what it's about. But a weekly pickup. When it feels it, or the. This is. Nothing down, used by them. It was very giving, you find some guys. Nothing. Baby toys. None of that, if people were basically. doing a good job, and the plastic bag is a problem that people won't like to touch. Put signs to the side, please, so we can get the bucket next to it. Bring a plastic bag. And bucket. I would have hope for that, with that sense of the.
Well, you think by having the regular weekly pickup, it would be feasible to keep it open all week and give that a try? You think?
Well, I still think if part of the problem is with people putting inappropriate things, I mean, I think the vermin is another separate problem that obviously we can solve, but the problem of it being unattended and therefore people put inappropriate things in there. The only way you solve that is either staff it the whole time or limit.
Or lock
You
it?
have to staff it to prevent.
Mhm.
And the only way to actually staff it is to have limited hours. Enough that you can get volunteers. I think Saturday's a great day because then you're working for people Saturday morning thing, even if it was even 9 to noon on staff day.
Mhm.
You know, that works for a lot of people.
Mhm.
But I don't know that if it's unstaffed, why people would stop putting inappropriate things in. Because I think, yes, there's a certain amount of education, but I think people who are going out of their way to compost know what open. And people who are looking for food things, dump their garbage is causing problems.
Yeah.
And the only way to get rid of them
Is
is
to
by
monitor
having
it,
it.
is by monitoring.
Right.
So another of my concerns, I mean, I hear this, and another reason why I'm saying I don't really understand the, do it at the farmer's market visit, like, is because you're talking 2 or 3 hours in the middle of a day. Most people, myself included, like, that's not a place, or like, that's not gonna work, right? But having, if you know that you can go, Saturday morning or, other sorts of hours, I think that's more realistic in terms of people being able to use it. And so, I mean, that's just, certainly the data could bear that out, but if we have to pay to get the data, then that's something I have to consider, I hear that, I hear it sounds like, the issue's less about, contamination and more about, it being hauled away. Well, if so, then, maybe there's some room for, trying that and seeing how that goes.
That's kind of.
But I also think we have no data on who uses this service, how many people, who they are, where they're from. Like, so we've been providing this service or attempting to, some would say, not well, for a while now. And, I do think if, in order for us to improve it, and figure out what the community needs and how much, and is that something that the village would want to take on in a more than a few months type of, pilot, then we need data. And that is only gonna happen if we close it down some. And there are people,
And it's monitored.
and it's monitored.
Right. Can I ask a question about the spreadsheet with costs?
Yeah.
Is that a weekly cost?
Yeah, that's a weekly cost.
So it's almost a walk, I mean, if the pickup gets taken over, that's almost a wash, right? At $1,000 a month, it's 200 and
148,
40
Yeah.
a week.
Mhm.
That's virtually $1,000 a month. So are we trading the pickup with Corey for everything on here or not?
What do you mean?
The 1,000 a month is the 250 a week. I mean,
Okay, right, he's
they're
gonna be doing
Equivalent.
the
He's
pickup
gonna
and
pick up Friday mornings and potentially both locations
right.
for basically 250 a week.
So that's what I'm saying, it's gonna replace what
staff.
we're paying now
Mhm.
for it to be done. So I'm just saying, it's not an
Yeah.
extra, it's not in addition,
Wait, what are we paying now?
but this
No,
is,
it's-
but this is what it
DPW
costs
have
us. That you had somebody write down how much time, so this is a cost.
That's what Corey did that.
That,
This is-
that cost
I thought
estimate,
this is what we
Yeah.
This
were.
is not,
that cost estimate is North Country
Sorry.
Compost's proposal on what we could do in the upcoming 3 months to pick
I
up
thought
once
it
a
was
week
what
at the
we
See,
were
the-
Spending
no,
on doing.
the expense for us is buried within the DPW budget.
I just thought this was somebody's attempt
No,
to
right.
quantify that.
No,
Yeah.
that's
Sorry.
right, that's
I'm
right.
like, wow, it's a perfect.
Are we splitting this with the town?
Well, I'm hoping that's possible
Kind
in
of
the
a
future.
town-wide project.
Yeah, I mean,
We
Mi- Mike,
haven't much in the past, but
Mike indicated that the town hasn't been terribly
The town-
interested.
The town is in
now.
part of this
okay.
officially.
Right.
I'm
I'm
talking,
hoping-
I have talked to the supervisor and she hasn't budgeted for any of this, number one. We don't have the data to say to the town that, hey, a bunch of your residents are using this, so.
Right.
What data
Of
becomes
course they are
important too.
Yeah, I'm
I mean,
hoping,
we know that.
I'm
but-
hoping in the
right.
future we'd split it with the town. So it would be 125 apiece.
But there's no guarantee of that and we
No.
can't count on that.
I
So
know.
can I
So-
also just ask, like, in terms of, Corey's farm, so is essentially this compost going to be compost that he then uses for his farm?
Yes, and then also once the cycle gets going, he'll bring in some compost to be available for people that, say, if you come to the farmer's market and you wanna pick up a 5-gallon pail of finished compost. At some point down the road, that will become available.
Now, the other piece of the puzzle, and Klaus talked to me a little bit about this, is the possibility of a commercial operation offering compost.
Down the road, Casella is working on this. Casella just started a pickup in Plattsburgh. They just got a truck or it's like a pilot project there. I think they might have gotten a grant or something to do this. And they've started to pick up and they say down the road, they would consider Canton and Potsdam. They're gonna keep in touch with us and keep us posted on how it's working in Plattsburgh. And they're looking at the possibility of doing this, in the future, but they didn't say, I'm thinking maybe next summer might be the soonest likelihood of that, or possibly beyond that. They didn't give any time estimate, but they are starting just now in Plattsburgh. And so they're optimistic that this will work and take off and more people will use it. But that's a future possibility.
Let me just throw a third out. You're concerned about tracking, which is one document. From compost, I've done this, it's a combination of. Time, access, all of it.
Well,
Then we get them, we can
Mhm.
and then we get a combination,
Right.
so we don't know.
So you can track who's using it.
There's no delay, as long as I stand by the phone. Yeah, here's a combination, what you name, where you live,
What's your email?
yeah.
And we can,
Then
Use
if you have
that.
Problems with contamination, at least know who you are.
right,
Especially if that contamination occurred right there.
right.
That actually, you might get volunteers to do,
Mhm.
sitting out for a
Well-
couple hours at a time. Over in an isolated spot.
that would cut the volunteer challenge down, because they wouldn't have to staff it, they just have to answer their phone.
Staff
Yeah.
them.
Then you'd have to change combination regularly.
Right. Yeah, that's what brought about the farmer's market location idea is the ability to get
Volunteers,
volunteers there.
of course.
It'd be hard to get somebody to be out there, sitting there by themselves out on the sand pile watching, but we can do both. It's a possibility.
So, go ahead. I just was, want to know what the board wanted to do, but if you have more to add.
Well, I was just gonna sort of suggest that, would it be useful to take back this conversation back to the sustainability committee and,
Well, let's,
see if
or
another iteration comes at, comes to
a
the.
few of us meet with Corey and Greg and the sustainability committee and together try to come up with something. That's the thought.
I'm gonna throw some out there for you to take back.
I would be willing to say that, if we did it for a period of time to evaluate, I could be comfortable with that.
3 months?
I'm just saying, once you get it all ironed out.
Right, I guess, yeah, I can support a 3-month pilot. I would like to see, again, my concern is that there's a bit of a mismatch between the proposal, not that it's not good and doesn't have good objectives, but those objectives and what it will accomplish versus actually solving the problem that we are trying to address. And so I'd like to see that kind of get a little closer personally.
I'm gonna throw something out there that's totally not been talked about at all.
Okay.
Carol Wright and the FFA.
Pardon?
Carol Wright
Oh,
and the FFA
okay.
at Canton High School.
Ooh.
You need to talk to her. She might be willing and interested. Student projects and leadership. She does leadership class and she's an ag, she's Cornell Ag.
Want to email her and me together and?
Sure, I would be happy to do that.
Super.
Also, we love environment.
Yeah, I mean, this, yes,
Right, meetings.
100%. There's the green team at school, there's the FFA, there's leadership class, there's like.
Yep.
And
That's a
youth
great idea.
are. Youth are invested in this
Mhm.
kind of.
Oh, absolutely. That's a great idea. Yep.
That's where I would be.
Email her and me and we'll talk. Yep,
Okay,
absolutely.
Okay,
So do we want to tentatively go ahead with this pilot or do we want to meet first with?
well, I think you need to iron a few details out.
Okay,
And we'll go from there.
okay.
Okay?
So we'll shoot for, I'll email everybody and we'll try to set a meeting to discuss further. Is that what we're thinking or?
Yeah, I think you were pretty clear on,
Or do you need me for a meeting or can you
Well-
take these concerns and?
I can take these concerns, sure.
I mean, if you need me for a meeting, then sure. I
Okay.
guess I wasn't necessarily saying I needed to
Okay.
meet. I just,
Well, you don't have.
I think we had a robust conversation here. I'd be interested to see what
Yep.
sort of revisions to the plan could come up with that.
Sure, we'll do that.
Reverend Mike was good.
Yeah. Reverend Mike said, no problem.
Okay,
Reverend makes it no problem, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we ran this by Reverend Mike, of course,
I know, 'cause
And-
Oh, because of the, sorry,
And-
got it.
and he said, no problem.
Perfect.
And the farmer's market, similarly, they were very
I bet
enthusiastic.
they were.
Yeah. Yep, but great idea to get kids into this.
And
That's-
Carol's amazing.
Yep.
And if it gets in the paper, I'll give her a call tonight.
you better call it, man. Be on North Country now, she'll be like, what?
Great.
okay,
You always gotta
Good.
get that curve.
I know.
let's move on to the last item in old business, would be the Court Street pop-up.
Oh, okay.
And I think,
Jennifer, we have an update on the Court Street pop-up project. And Jennifer Henry is gonna.
Oh, fabulous. Yep, we can do that.
So, yeah, so the community streets, last course, we're excited to actually get the, pop-up underway. And so, in mid-September, we're going to be, bringing 2 temporary crosswalks added to the north and south corners of Desmond Street. And temporary, alternative transportation lane or bike lanes, painted on Court Street, 3,000 colors. And so this is just to give us a chance to see how this all works, to be feedback from the community. And so we know we are definitely gonna need community engagement as part of this, so we bring out calls for volunteers via social media and village website. That's something we've been talking with Anna about that. figuring out kind of how all these pieces work, because when we looked at pop-up projects and regardless of the state, there have not been any in the country. So we haven't had anybody local to really talk to and figure out some of these pieces.
Piloting is great. I love that.
Yeah, bring the next person, okay, let them time. So we are working on social media posts to let the community know. And then we're also scheduling some farmers market days, where we'll have a table, have a chance for the community to give us their feedback. What's working, what isn't, what questions do they have, to see how feasible it all is. So the pop-up itself will run for 2 weeks, assuming there's some major storms that wash us away. And that will be in mid-September. So right now we're looking at our install date of weekend of September 15th. And then that weekend doesn't work due to weather, we'll go with the following weekend. And so we have a potential budget of $600. You know, we are borrowing, we're talking to Tim to like borrow some supplies, see what we can do. As all of that is something that we're hoping that volunteers come in and do for us. We're also looking at some local businesses to see if we can get some donation of like technical aid that we're using, and also using the flyers and yard signs, that sort of thing. And then we survey to gain feedback from other costs that will be coming out of these streets. Otherwise, we are.
Yes, it is.
So we're excited to get it underway and as far as parking and that, those, limiting everything as is, so that we can get an idea of how we following.
Real time.
Any questions that anyone have?
You said this was gonna be about a 2-week period,
Roughly,
weather dependent.
right, yeah. It's just a bunch of storms in a row, right, a lot later this year.
And it's a paint product you put down?
Yes, actually, temporary paint, like you could use in school, a pair of lucky, uses it with the nickel line.
Oh, okay.
So,
Yes.
she was comfortable using that, and it seems some of the top-ups that I did as well, not. Should save some money. If you look at that. Layer.
And Tara's talked to St. Mary's, they're on board. She had a lengthy discussion with St. Mary's and they're well aware of this and ready to cooperate.
That's kind of the phase we're at is meeting with each of the groups on that street. And actually, everyone thus far has been happy to know about it and excited to be able to provide feedback. So,
Yep, we're hoping to get lots of feedback from everybody,
I'm sure you will.
businesses, everybody,
Yeah.
citizens, yep.
It'll be obvious.
Yep, and that'll be very useful to
Yeah.
look at everybody's feedback.
Questions?
No, Jennifer, I neglected to answer your email, which just remembered, and I had forwarded it on, so we'll get that sorted out for you. Sorry about that.
no, that's fine. That's
Yeah.
fine. I'll stop, you know, so-
Yeah.
Anything else? Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Okay, moving on to new business, authorized payment of vouchers and transfer funds.
So,
In favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next item is second notice for taxes resolution.
So moved.
Second,
Discussion?
Do we need to, are we set with the $2 versus the payment?
Which that was.
Perfect, I'm on board with that.
That's in the resolution. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Approved fire department member Kaylee McCluskey.
Exciting.
Yeah.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
I'm excited, some more young people, that's great.
Yeah. And a legacy.
And a legacy, love that.
I'm gonna be absent, or I'll be out of town for our meeting next month and, was hoping we could move that around a little bit. I had mentioned on the agenda maybe the 23rd, but, there's a few things that.
September 23rd.
No, wait a minute, one, two, no,
The 23rd was for a joint meeting.
I'm sorry, I'm messed up here, I jumped the gun. Set a date for joint town and village board meeting, would be the 23rd of this month at 6 o'clock.
Week from today.
A week from today. The object is to take action on the bids for demolition of 64 Main Street. I expect it would be a fairly short meeting. The town does have one more thing that they need to add to the agenda. It's just
You said 6 o'clock?
6 o'clock.
On the 23rd. Yeah.
I have an engagement, but I have one. That's not gonna be good.
I don't, 6 o'clock is when we thought we would do that. I'm sorry, I guess reading one thing and talk about another.
You have an engagement at 6, is that what you said?
It's 6:30, but I'm here. That's what it is. If it, I mean, if it's 10 people, I'll make it work.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Is that okay with everybody?
Of course.
Okay.
Presumably, we already got the okay from the town, like they're ready to go. to-
That was the day, as long as I could provide the clerk
Great.
to take
Okay.
notes. And we
Is
did.
that okay with you?
Thank you so much.
Okay, we got to that point,
I moved my.
so shoot, Marie.
Appreciate that. so much.
Okay, so we're gonna set that for the 23rd at 6. Then the next item was to discuss change of the September village board meeting, because I'm gonna be out of town.
And it was for the 20th.
It was for the 20th.
I would be delighted to move that.
I
Like a
wanted to move it to the
perfect
27th, but,
But
Well-
some questions about,
If we're gonna have the community choice aggregation information session. Peggy, our representative from Jewel said she's not available after the 25th. So she would not be able to do it on the 27th.
13th.
Well, here's a question, sorry, but if we could hold our board meeting on the 27th, and that spot's already reserved, we could do a half hour. On the 20th.
oh,
We could just do the, just the,
could just
Mike
do
doesn't have
the-
to be.
I don't
here
have
for
to be here.
Do I have to be?
Oh.
You
Okay.
know, it's a community thing.
Right, it's really about the community,
So-
right? It's not really about the board.
It's
Am I
not a
correct?
meeting.
It's not about the
No.
board, right?
We're not both,
Yeah,
August
that's community.
23rd, if I can. That'd be good.
What day could you do it, Beth? What were you
I've
just saying?
already seen it, like several times.
I guess that's what I'm saying is that the purpose of having it before the board is that the information session is at this point not for the board's
Right.
benefit, it's for
It's
the
public.
community's
Right.
benefit. So it doesn't matter that we're not gonna meet directly after
Right.
it.
You're right.
So we could just hold the 20th,
Anyway,
do a half hour to an hour more if we have people,
Okay.
but board members being here is irrelevant.
okay, yeah, that's true.
And we have seen it.
Yeah, we've all seen it, sure. Sure, they're just, it's a requirement for them to do this, to be able to
And I appreciate
proceed
that.
with a
So-
buy.
And it's good for the community to
Sure.
hear about, so it's
Sure.
not a bad thing,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, I think Hannah's proposal is,
So,
so we just changed the board meeting to the 27th.
Okay, yeah, that should work.
Sally, can you be here for that?
The 27th.
Yeah.
You know, why not? I reserve every Wednesday night board meeting.
Scott, I'm not sure if you're available that night or not. Okay, so our next board meeting will be the 27th. We will plan a public hearing for parking regulations
No,
15 minutes prior
So
at 6:15.
And that would be,
Is that okay?
Sure. And that is specifically for Farmer Street. And
Well, it's parking. I think we're gonna have,
what we need to do.
I think we're gonna have information by then on what's gonna happen.
I'm guessing it's already gonna be implemented at that point.
Because, well, you know, we'll know what the school's doing, but we'll also see what the patterns of the students are.
Right, and
That are parking, and then we can make a decision based on them.
yeah, school will be in session. for
Yeah.
2 hours.
So I think that will give us data that we need in order to make a good decision. Okay, so the 20th, you're gonna,
Yeah, we'll stick to the 20th.
and it'll be probably,
Here,
be here.
6:30.
6,
Okay.
6 on the 20th.
Was that what we were
And-
originally doing?
Pardon me?
Was that what we were? originally
Yeah,
doing?
that was the original
We're
plan.
gonna try to put it before our meeting. then.
Yeah, that'll work. That'll work. We'll just do it on the 20th and short. Go for it. And we can.
Okay,
Yes.
You know, as long as we have some people here.
Yeah, we can figure that out. I mean, we can
Okay.
probably do. The screen. if we need to.
I guess we could, sure.
Right. But we don't have to worry about.
No, it's true. It's just a
So
public.
it's easier.
It can be here.
okay, public comment, is there any public comment? Going once, going twice? Need a motion to go into executive session for a couple of minutes, or possibly, yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.